Hey everybody, got something new to say. Technically, it's not really new. It's the same thing that I've been saying this entire time. Um, Hold on, let me roll up the window. Okay. Um, Coffee with Texas Paul. He's a podcaster on YouTube. He's got this thing, oligarchs over Americans. And that's a very good quote because he's talking about the greed that's going on in our nation and how it messes up everybody by the people who are pulling the strings. Now, for those of you who know me, who don't know me, hold on, let me do this so you can stop seeing the reflection, so you can see my eyes. For those of you who know me, you know I go by a quote also. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Okay? It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. And I still have to stand by that because that's solid in my mind. Okay? So now that you know what we're all talking about, what people like them are talking about, people like me are talking about, this is what I was saying during the November election, that we got to stay on top of all of this. We got to point out every little detail. Because there is a lot of corruption and a lot of greed and a lot of horse crap that's going on, and it's usually done by the people that are pulling the strings. And if it's not by the people that are pulling the strings, it's people that are paying the people that are pulling the strings. Okay, so there's a lot of crap that goes on. Here we are just trying to make a living. We can't afford any housing because they've skyrocketed. I'm hearing stuff from too high of prices for BS houses, for BS-sized houses on BS-sized plots of land, all the way over to it's too much to afford because of the contract that has these interest rates and such that doesn't measure up. It's designed to hurt the consumer financially to where they can't pay off the house. They're forced to sell it out of a couple of years later, and whoever buys it, whoever gets it, gets to sell it for double the price or whatever, and the cycling continues, and it goes on and on and on. Okay, and that leads to a bunch of homelessness. That's just one aspect of the greed that's going on. And again, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. What one person said, oligarchs over Americans. This guy named Texas Paul, good quote, because those that are at the top of the housing industry are the ones that are profiting big, and they're swindling. They're doing what we call swindling and fraudulent deals with us Americans, who get the short end of the stick by way of buying cheap products for tons of money, all the way down to being charged so much that you lose the house, and they get to bank on it all over again, that very same house, all over again. Okay? There was also a railroad thing that took place. Everybody's spitting on it, despite the fact that it was just a repair job that costed a couple of $1 million. It doesn't do anything for the railroad infrastructure, except you're not going to find another, a derailed train. And that's a good thing. Technically, that's what we're supposed to be doing with our tax-paying dollars. If it's not creating something brand new, it's doing something like maintenance and upholding something like this railroad bridge. It's that simple of a thing. Just do your jobs that we, the taxpayers, want to see out of them. But because it's not a big project, making them look like this badass politician, you're usually going to say, we're going to do this new project. You're welcome. Okay? And it doesn't help derail. It doesn't help prevent derailing. It doesn't help with passing the business altogether, which, speaking of business, The train that was done in, I want to say Del Rio, Texas, but I can't remember right now. But yeah, it was a train that brings in product from south of the border into the Texas into the U.S. Ergo, it's part of the $24 million per hour route that comes and goes through the business through the border. You know, now there's speculation that it's just going to have a bunch of people riding on it, illegal immigrants riding on top of it, and that drugs is going to be passed and all this stuff. Technically, that's what inspections are for. Something that my Texas governor, my worthless Texas governor, is budget cutting. He's spending millions and millions of dollars on razor wire. He's spending millions and millions of dollars on National Guard. But the one thing that he's not doing is having the state hire or the federal government hire inspectors. Why? Because that costs more money than the $100 million that they could put into this one project. And it's BS. And then to top it all off, after throwing razor wire in our river, my worthless governor says, "You're welcome." You see what's going on? It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. If you believe it, that's what they're doing. Of course, I don't believe it, and I could see through the BS. This is what we're talking about. This is what I'm so happy he did this today. He broadcasted this today. This is what Coffee with Texas Paul, Mr. Texas Paul, was talking about. He was saying everything my way, the way I say it, but he was saying it using his own words. So 2 thumbs up for that guy. I think it's great. I think he hit it right on the head, and he came up with his own version of how he views the corruption and the corrupt business and corrupt economy, oligarchs over Americans. Which technically, I don't think he's the first one to say that. I think we got Bernie Sanders that might have been the first one to say that. But nevertheless, it sticks. It's a great quote. Mine is a little bit more in depth, but at the same time, it's a roundabout way of saying it. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. If you believe it, it's worth the profit. And here's the thing. You got to look past that belief. The only thing you should really believe in is God. You shouldn't really believe any of this crap that the politicians are saying. How many times have we done this? There's comedic movies and television shows and music writes about corrupt politicians. I mean, dude, look past that image, that holy than thou art image that they're throwing out there. Okay? And this is coming from me. A guy who's a San Antonio Texan, an ordinary San Antonio Texan struggling to make a living, whose faith is in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and is, all America, defends all my country amongst all my fellow coworkers and all these other people. You know who you are. The one former coworker from an assembly job. He was an inspector, and he would talk about politics, and of course it was on this conservative side, and I would debate him, and then this one coworker, somehow religion came up, and he said, you shouldn't believe in God, that stuff isn't real, and that very same conservative and myself would immediately jump on his case. Whoa, hold on. No, God exists. God exists. Yeah, we know for a fact. And we start debating about religion and stuff like that, Same thing with this guy that I know that's Antichrist, and he's saying, why do you believe in God when God himself says he's evil? And I forgot the passage, but yeah, it's in the Bible. But here's the thing. God doesn't just say he's evil. He says he is good. He is the darkness. He is the light. Okay? He says he's everything, which makes sense given the fact that he's the creator of all. Okay? The point is, you don't believe a guy that says, don't follow this icon because of something that's written in the Bible, or something to just popularly say, well, I don't believe in God. Okay, that's fine. But with so much evidence proving that there is a God, and proving that the main objective for us here on this world is to do what we can so we can present ourselves respectively to our Lord and Savior once we cross to the other side, which is the goal. Everybody say, yeah, believe in God, believe in Jesus. So much even that the churchgoers, that's all that they say. Those are, in fact, missing the point. This is true. But you gotta look past that. At the same time, you gotta watch out those that are say don't believe for whatever reason. The nativity scene came up. I didn't bring it up because I had something more specific to say, but the nativity scene got brought up again. Why do you have the nativity scene when Jesus was living in a cave? Well, technically he was living in a manger. Yeah, and it says, yeah, but that's not in caves. Well, technically it can be, okay? Because Israel, as we all know throughout history, is a mineral country, a mineral enriched country, okay? It's the reason why the Egyptians enslaved them. It's the reason why the Romans enslaved them later on. It's the reason why America defends them, okay? Let's just be honest. It's all about the money, huh? But it's also because an added bonus as far as the belief goes, it's also where Christ was born. Now, nobody can denounce that, but they could spit on the nativity scene because of the way we buy it off of the shelves as a little manger on an open territory. And it's supposedly supposed to be politically incorrect. Here's the thing. The objective to it is to recognize the birth of Jesus, the three kings, and all that was well during the time that Jesus was born. Okay? When Jesus was a little baby. That's the point. That's the main objective right there. To get politically correct about it, well, what are we talking about? So now we can't buy a nativity scene unless it's geologically correct. Do we have to make our own? Do we have to pull out the compass and the protractor and the measurements and all this stuff to make a cave and have a manger inside that cave? Because caves were used to keep the animals from freezing. The donkey and the goat and the little lamb, they're placed inside those exact caves, okay? And they had walls and little partitions like stables, like stables and all this good stuff, and bundles of hay stored, that is correct. But to think that we can't have a nativity scene, or we have to disregard it because we don't have a nativity inside a cave, that's just stupid, okay? That is just stupid. But that's the belief that most hardcore churchgoers want to have, and it's the belief that every single Antichrist deniers want to abolish. You gotta look past that crap, okay? Now, religion aside, here we are in politics and events that's going on in the world, or at least here in the U.S., and we're looking at stuff that everybody's going to be in an uproar about. What are we doing putting up a train? It's just going to have fentanyl traffic trained in. It's going to have migrants riding on top of it and coming in like cattle cars, Also, okay, I'm going to skip past that, but you get the idea. I'm going to skip past that and actually go global to Nippon, Japan, where a deal for them to buy our steel has been turned down by the President of the United States, Biden, not the upcoming one. However, the upcoming president and all of his cronies and all of his people are going to be saying that it's bad because we're supposed to be profiting off of this and all this stuff. And to a certain point, to a certain extent, they're correct. It is botching a deal. But all of the railroad union organizations are saying it's not a bad idea. Oh, no, not the railroad, excuse me. All of the steel union organizations are saying it's not a bad idea. Because that steel could actually be put to good use here instead of just selling it off like the way Trump is going to be doing with so much of our minerals and resources and oil and fuel and all this crap. And I can prove that because here in Texas, the legislation forbade a former Chinese Communist Party member who bought hundreds of acres of land, produced illegal fracking, and to bring up liquid natural gas and ship it off to China. And the U.S. didn't bank any bit of it. The only thing the U.S. made money on was the land that was sold. That was it. Everything, the minerals and resources underneath the land, in this case, liquid natural gas. Okay, that was what that former Chinese Communist Party member profited on. We didn't get diddly squat. Okay? So, back to this situation with Nippon Steel. Technically, they are an ally of ours, but we didn't really lose any friendship with them. We don't have any problems with them like the way China brings us with their constant complaints and the constant, well, we're going to do what we want to do anyway mentality. Okay? Now, all of the steel union organizations are happy about this. Republicans are finding angles to bitch about it, and they will. Here's the thing. Here's the one that I can tell you, that I can predict, is that it's going to be loss of jobs and all this stuff. For those of you who have been following me, especially on this subject, it's all about the money, belief is the tool. We all know, we just know that the loss of jobs things is going to happen anyway, because they do it every year. In some cases, every quarter year. Okay? They hire 300,000 workers and they release a third of them by the end of a quarter year, or before the end of a quarter year. And we found this out through the drillings. You know, here's the thing with the unfair advantage that the oil drillers have. The oil drilling industry can fire all these people and then rehire new people at an entirely different drilling site for less money to top it all off. And then they do the cuts again, you know, and again, they're doing it all, at a quarterly basis. Same thing with Walmart and grocery places, grocery industries, teachers, what do you call them? Department stores. Same thing with farming industry. Same thing with the tourist industry. Same thing with the electric industry. All these hires go on, these job fairs and everything. But it's for the industries to shift money around, or if not, just plain stop it with layoffs and pocket the invested money that they're supposed to be investing in the employees and future projects. Okay. Steel industry, same thing. So every critic of Biden's steel selling ban to Japan Every critic is just going to say, oh, loss of jobs, loss of jobs. Yes, but it's not going to be because of Biden, okay? Keeping the steel here just allows the American workers to use it. So no, that's all that is a bunch of BS that even I can predict, okay? And again, I'm just an ordinary San Antonio, Texas, American, Latino delivery guy trying to make ends meet, no differently than all of you, with a GED as the only proof of a certified education, okay? And even I can see this. But yeah, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. They're going to spit on it and say, you're welcome. We did the right thing. You're welcome. Okay? And it's bullcrap. This is the bullcrap that I'm talking about. So yeah, I had to speak up. I have to point these little things out. Is it going to be detrimental to you? Probably not. But you need to know this. You need to spread the word to top it all off. Get yourself a podcast also. You know, this isn't really a podcast for me. It's just a way for me to vent out what I'm feeling. Oops, excuse me. But if you want to follow a podcast that's closer on it, yeah, go to Coffee with Texas Paul. Brian Tyler Cohen is also doing this occasionally. He does that. He's more of the legislative laws stuff as opposed to looking at these individual things. Dollemore and I Doubt It podcast, Brittany Page. Now they're more on social issues, but nevertheless, they do tackle these things from time to time. They're really on par once they point out the swindling, the money part. Okay. With me, it's mostly going to be about the money. Because if a guy with a GED as the only certifiable education can spot it, so can you. Hence the reason why I want you to keep listening to me, to keep voicing your voice, because as soon as I see it, I'm going to point it out. And that's for you there. Okay? That's information for all of you. For the subscribers and the non-subscribers, eventually when this gets to the general public. For right now, it's going to my 16, at least I think I still have 16 followers. And then, it spreads on out. Occasionally, I'll get a complaint or feedback about a comment I made back in 2021 when I first started. But so I know for a fact that eventually gets out there. Yeah, that's the long and the short of it. I just had to say, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Keep pointing out this crap that's going to be going on. The conservatives, the Republicans, all the way up to Trump, okay, and his administration. They're all going to be spitting on things, and everything that they praise, you got to take a second look at. Because if they're praising something like that tariffs, which every economist says is bullcrap, it's not going to help, you got to look into it as to why they're saying that. And you got to look into as to why the everybody that's in favor of it, the pro-tariffs, are smiling about it, okay? And it's more than likely because what everybody's been saying earlier, it's only for them to profit off of, not you, not anybody that supports them, just those that are actually big investors, lawmakers, and judges to make those tariffs possible. So that way the Trump, his administration, and anybody that's a part of it can get to profit off it. And even still, that's barely all of them. Okay, I'd like to say it's us versus them. Not a lot of Republicans are going to be profiting off of the tariffs, because not a lot of profits are made off of the shipping industry from other countries. A lot of it is just through companies that collect the shipped product and distribute it to other states. So not all Republicans, and then to top it off, Republican citizen, conservative citizens, forget it. If you're not in that industry, and if you're just a worker in the industry, you ain't profiting squat, people. You know, it's not an us versus them. It's just a plain con. But because they're going, look, profits are coming in, with tariffs are coming in so much, so high, and all this stuff, they're going to say everything is better, you're welcome. And again, you're not getting diddly squat out of that. The people that are distributing product that's shipped in are not getting diddly squat. They've got a job, sure. But you honestly think they're going to be, sailing in the yachts that the rich people are? Hell no. Hell, not by a long shot. Okay? Not by a long shot. The workers are still going to be struggling paycheck to paycheck no differently than we are. And I'm not even a part of it. I'm just a grocery delivery guy. I'm just I transport tires from a warehouse to the car dealership. Okay? I transport paints. And most of the time it's just from one paint store to another paint store. I don't even get to go to anybody's houses and check out the landscape or the, how they decorated their house or anything, Most of the time it's just store to store, business to business deliveries. And I know for a fact I ain't getting paid diddly squat that the people that are in the actual industry are profiting off of. Okay? Not by a long shot. And the same thing goes with you. That's what I was talking about with every one of you. You ain't getting any of those riches. Not by a long shot. So, what do you do about it? Okay, you look out for the swindling that's going on. You back up anybody and everybody that opposes the swindling and the fraud and the corporate fraud and the political fraud and the corporate political and the politically corporate fraud. Okay? You back them up. Even if it's a person who's only 1/132% of a Native American. Okay? That shouldn't matter. It's the fact that he or she brings out the truth. Okay? Points out the facts. All right? And disperses the information, no matter how ugly of a truth it is, no matter how ugly of a fact it is. Okay? You follow them and you look at that and you see it for yourself. And then you spread the word. And we support anybody and everybody that keeps preventing, or at least attempts, if not actually accomplishes, in preventing the corporation fraud, the political fraud, the politically corporate and the corporate political fraudulent acts that are being committed. It's that simple, but it starts right here. Spread the word. Learn. Look. Okay? See it for yourself. Connect some dots. And then spread the word out there. Don't just follow what I'm saying. Look for the research yourself. Plus, somebody like me that only has this amount of time to say what he needs to say, I would love to pull out the notebook where I wrote down all the facts like the way I used to. But right now, I just don't got that luxury. So, do the research, and again, I do apologize. I'll try my best to remember the fact sheet that I can read it off to you. But for right now, that's what I need to say. We're coming up to 30 minutes. Y'all take care. Y'all take easy. Yeah, stay focused. We'll get there. We got a long way to go before we can get rid of all this BS that we're now pitching in and exploiting. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.